a chop. Yes, it is breaking out. Bitcoin is breaking out. I thought I've made that clear if I haven't already. So for those that are checking, but I think what we're having is a melt out the top of a squeeze here, and we're taking out. When you smash a funnel level, a legacy funnel level, remember there's an axis there. This was a performing downside funnel. So just to remind everybody, it's a key point. It invalidates a first inverted HVF in a new trend. It means you made your target there. You would have made money on your short. You would have had overperformance management, and you would have got somewhere out the other 40% somewhere here. And then it bounced, it's churned. It's been in indecision land because the upside failed. It failed at the funnel. You've been in churn, and now it is really impulsively smashing it. Now, the problem I have with this is if you charge in now and buy, you can melt up and then you can rest back down into the funnel or even through it before taking another leg up. So it is very impulsive to the upside Bitcoin. And I think, as I've said a few times already, you should have a holding of Bitcoin for this half of this year. It just tends to be the one that's going to lead all the markets. But do you chase it now is the question. And it's a bit of a judicious one because we're just breaking a key level of significance. Every time we do that, note here, you then get it. You often get a little bit of a rest. Even here, you broke it here, you got a pullback. You know, this was a rising wedge too. So the question, the statement I'm saying is it's not necessarily the right thing to do to chase to purchase this very minute. It is very impulsive and it is breaking out. So that's what the guys wanted to remind me, but I think I'd already made that clear. But that candle can turn into a shooting star. So if you FOMO buy it, you rush your entries and then you have time to regret them when you get a revisit back down here. But typically on the super macro, my bias for you is that you should be long Bitcoin. So I see Sean's asked some questions and Matthew. So I think, Matthew, entry point for Bitcoin, I've given you my view at the moment. I'm not saying you should chase this. I'd prefer you didn't, actually. What some might be asking is on a bigger time frame. So let me remove some of the legacy draws that failed. We can kill the ones that we know didn't work, even though they funneled. Is what if we treated that as an H1? Do we have the first upside in a new trend draw, which is already in a breakout? So I think maybe this is what Bernard meant when he came and said Bitcoin is a breakout. I think we already know it's breaking out. What he might have meant is there is an HVF draw for which it is already part in process of fulfilling. And this draw is quite possibly what he might have meant. So I might need to, so for those of you that are following this, hopefully, this could be first set up after a sell-off event. So we call this a trend change event. So this was a bear trend, capitulate once, a very strong rebound, which gives encouragement. Or actually, I could redraw even more holistically. We could argue that the entire move here all the way up is your H1. This is your L1. I'm a bit slow on the uptake today, guys. I should have picked this quicker. And that this is now your H3 and your L3. And the midpoint there is somewhere here. So this is if you're always watching on too short a time frame. Now, this is getting a little bit messy, this chart. So I'm going to take some lines off that are no longer particularly strong ones. They were interesting, but sometimes you have to reduce the clutter. Otherwise, you can't spot, especially for new guys that are going, what the hell is he doing? I'm going to leave the 10,000 line on. So what we could have is a high one, low one. Always do the swings. Don't do highs and then lows. High one, low one, high two, low two, high 3, low 3. Yes? So the midpoint is somewhere in the middle there. Measure it. So if giving Bernard the credit of the doubt, you'll meet him on Bernard's Friday sessions. Very solid HVF technician. 10,115. I think he was saying, Francis, you're missing stuff. 9352. So 9352 to 10115. So that is around 700-ish. So let's do it again. 10115 was it? Not quite 700, less 35. So about 665. You want about 332.5 added onto this. So I'm calculating where the midpoint 332 onto 9352. 9684. That should be our midpoint roughly there. So let's grab that line, 9684. We're leaving that one in because it is our guesstimation that can come out. So what we're actually saying is, happy days, continuation is always our assumption on Bitcoin. You should be long Bitcoin, and it is breaking out. Now, always finish your draw. Don't rush in and go buy the damn thing. It could be at an interim level and about to have a little bit of a sell-off. You always rush entries generally by thinking that now's the perfect moment. I still don't think that's in the middle, is it? Doesn't look like the middle to me. I think I missed something in my mathematics. I must do that again. Doesn't look right. 10,115. 9352. So it was 800 less, not 700, 800 less 35. So I was a bit short. So when I said 9, should be down there. So this is your H3 entry. And note how it got broken impulsively. That is your stop. And we've actually got a little bit of a primer wind up in here. On the way up. See that? We'll drop a time frame for it. So it's unlikely in our view that you will see these levels again. So the primer normally works, but you could have a primer fail and the big pattern not. How far will it go? Give us the target, Francis. How far is our interim? Are we about a stall? No, this is quite a chunky interim. That's the H3 to L3 interim. We need the H2 to L2, which is the bigger one. In short, most pullbacks on Bitcoin are opportunities to accumulate. So we've smashed that funnel level. I think that's well established. I think it. Let's just do the targets before I take those lines off. I sometimes like to remove the clutter. As I say, it gets a bit complex draw. So is everyone following what I'm doing here? Is everyone following what I'm doing? We are calling this a setup, and we're calling a new target high of 12,600, possibly even with some overperformance. And we have just run a first interim, and we are going rather strongly up. And it's interesting to note that that first interim is actually the access level of the downside HVF, which is another one of those inverted commas coincidences. So there is possibility that you get a reaction and a bit of exhaustion now, guys. Although it does look pretty meaty and pretty strong at the moment. So Bitcoin's where the action is. and it'll be killing the other alts. If you're sitting stuffed with the major alts, I think if you've got a really niche little coin that's light volume, you might get away with a little bit if it's got a real reason for going up. Right, I did say at 2 o'clock we would stop for a little comfort break. So I'm going to give you all 10 minutes. It is actually 2 o'clock now. Take 10, and I will be back at 10 minutes past 2, and we'll talk more about this live on the go break, and we'll make sure our targets are accurate. We'll do a tighter draw, and we'll talk about any other coins and take some questions as well. So Derek asks, I'm missing something. I thought the purpose was to accumulate BTC. The game is to accumulate valuation of BTC. If Bitcoin is the best and fastest growing one, we'll have it actually in BTC. If other coins are going up quicker than Bitcoin, we'll have it in them. And then when they make targets, we'll sell back to BTC. So BTC is always home base when we haven't got better ideas. Yes, Mike, you'll watch the 18 steps, and a lot of this will be good for you. Also, we are recording, so you'll be able to watch this again after you've had a bit more 18 steps. Andrew's pointing out Bitfinex has a slightly different draw, so we'll have a look at that maybe when we return. Second interim a while off. Second interim is a while off, but you're already stalling now after running your first. Pleasure, Craig. Good luck with the meeting. Stay bullish, Sab, on Bitcoin. Stay bullish. Not how long, stay bullish. Look at that macro chart. It's still killing the alts. It could be making an H3. No, it's broken an already qualified H3, Leon. So no, that's not correct, but good thought, but not in this case. So you have an H2 that's qualified, and you have an H3 that's qualified, and we've had a triggering event. Gentlemen, whoop, yep, we are back. In fact, one thing I forgot my glass of water. I'm going to get people to just reprime that for our final half hour. Hold on a sec. So right there in one couple of candles is your reason why you don't chase on a key level of significance, melt up, take out on a rising wedge. So those of you that were saying, do we buy? And I was saying, well, ideally not now. You're going to get that higher probability of a pullback. Can you see the method and the patience? Can you see who had an emotional reaction that just wanted to be in and just wanted to chase it? It was only going up. Who charged and filled? Who hit the stack at any price? Own up, and understand. This is the beginning of improving your quality of entry. Entries matter. They absolutely matter. Entries absolutely matter. Everything that looks like it's mooning and you can't be a bear and it's going to run and leave you behind and all emotion, fear of missing out. Recognize it, toe tag it, identify it. The chance will come. You want to be early, you wanted to catch in there, or better still on the primer here for Bitcoin. So I think this is the key thing we need to be talking about. It's the big one, not the others. You need to learn to contain emotions. So what is this as a view? Let's take some pictures. This is important. This is a big site, HVF. It is admittedly on a 5-minute time frame. I think we can probably squeeze this into a 15 and do a better draw. So there's the 15-minute. This is what we'd call pattern time frame. And you just ran a interim. Don't chase an entry as you ran an interim, as you're running an interim. And you're running a key level of significance that has been broken with momentum and then subsequently pulled back on. It's done it before. Here you have your Bitcoin pullback. Here you have your Bitcoin pullback. But do we know, is the cat out the bag about who's doing what? If Bitcoin is running, unfortunately for the other alts, it is dominant. It is dominant, and the money bleeds into Bitcoin. The new money and some of the allocation of the money bleeds back into the major. That's how it tends to work. So, who's already seeing that they could have had a better entry on the entries they chased? Hopefully you'll come to trust the method, and this is part of the game. Don't worry, it's early doors. Your emotional responses are powerful. You will not fix it in a day. This is why we provide an extended period of opportunity to continually interact with the methodology, seeing it being done, seeing it being reinforced, and so you start to become a different person. You are on a personal development program right now. I tell people this all the time. You have to overcome your emotional responses, and it's one of the hardest things for me. It's one of the hardest things about becoming a powerful trader. Absolutely. It's one of the hardest things. So it's not easy, but guess what? You've got a process to hang your hat on now. You've got a methodology. So we don't chase the rising wedge. We don't chase the rising wedge at a key funnel level. That's just about to be run at an interim level. 3 separate reasons right there were given to you as to why you shouldn't do that. Confluence of the first interim and the geometry with the down leg selling. This is why you have all your previous draws. Looks messy now. Useful information to have. It's where it topped out and now just runs the previous. All your support and resistance traders, by the way, get killed. You'll hear me say this many times. So all of them, they become buyers after the high of this high. Trend has changed. We've taken out that high. We'll soon take out that high. They'll buy in there. They're being smashed. Yep. They will always get the wrong entry. Not saying that support and resistance is not a useful doctrine, just saying trading with it at the most obvious levels is rarely a good entry. So understand the message of what I'm saying to you. So support and resistance traders get smashed. When you're on the third high, they're not ready for that yet. They're still unsure. This is just a big blob of consolidation for them. They're not seeing the detail in it. They're not seeing the detail in it. So we take a picture and we record it. This was your uptrend. I don't need that now. I think we all know that was largely your uptrend. This was our exhaustive high. This is your smash down. Here's your 5-minute HVF. What's our target for the 12.5? Well, fancy that. Next, sufficiently good, as we have done here. So far, this is compliant. We may have a pause, a chop, and a churn around for a while. And then the next point we will is as we make new highs again, just run the new high. What's going to happen to the support and resistance guy? Run the new high and the second interim, run the round number 11,500, dip back down. You want my scenario cost prediction of what's coming next? I'm giving it to you right now. This is going to churn and do whatever for a bit. How deep it pulls back, I don't know. I don't think it's going to necessarily come all the way to the funnel and get supported, but it could churn around. When it gets running again, so I'll start somewhere here, it's going to do this on balance of probabilities or a high chance that it may do this. It will run the new high. It's going to hit all the headlines again. Everyone's going to run to open Coinbase accounts who hasn't already, or who has and hasn't put enough money and will put in more, and it will do that. New high, second interim, dip. Support and resistance traders buying long here in much the same way it happened here. Buy long, go straight into a negative drawdown and a churn. That's what's going to happen. Here's my scenario cast for what's going to happen. Hear me now. That's my guess. I don't seek a beer if I'm accurate, and I won't be buying any if I'm inaccurate, but I think there's a high probability. Hope you enjoyed that snippet, and if you're interested and wish to take more, there is a short questionnaire for you on this button just to check suitability, and you can find out more detail about becoming part of our HVF trading community and becoming a crypto sniper. I'm Francis Hunt. Enjoy yourselves, and we're on www.themarketsniper.com where you can get these details. Look forward to chatting to you on the other side of this.